Okay, we're back again, and it's been cooking for about 2.5 hours. It cooked a little faster because this is a smaller piece. Normally I cook like 3 pieces, but the way you can tell it's done is you take a blunt stick, like in this case I'm using half a chopstick, and then you just push it through the meat, and it should go all the way through easily without any resistance. Okay, that way you know the meat's soft and tender enough. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out, and be careful because it's hot. Okay, what we want to do is we want to just let it sit, let it rest, cool down, and then I'm going to put this in the ice box to chill down, because normally I make it the day before, and then I chill it down because it's real jiggly right now. So by chilling it down, it gets real firm, and then I can thin slice it. But if I was going to serve this right away, I would have to cut it thicker, and it depends on your preference. Okay, so now we got all this juice that came out of the meat, and it went into the water. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start cooking the vegetables, and you want to put it in the order that it will cook. The longest one to take the longest time to cook, and then remove it, and then put in the other ones that take shorter time. Now I'm going to do this all at once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in the onions first, because onions, one thing about onions, they dissolve when they cook, and some people don't care for onions and may or may not realize that there's onions in the pot because it dissolved. The reason why I put onions, well, I personally like onions, but another reason why I put onions is this is really salty from all the curing salts. Okay, so the onions will give it a sweetness to cut back some of that saltiness. Now the next thing that takes a long time to cook is carrots. Okay, and the next thing that takes a long time, depending on the size. Okay, these are small golden potatoes. They normally, you don't need to peel them. They hold its shape. I had to trim some of them because some of them are started sprouting. They're a little green, so you don't want that toxicity, or I'm told that it's toxic, so I trimmed some of it off. Okay, so I'm going to put that on top, and the last part I'm going to throw on the cabbage. Okay, to me you got to have cabbage, but I guess that's a personal preference. I mean, it's totally adequate with just the potatoes and carrots, but to me it isn't corned beef unless you have cabbage. Okay, and so you can see it's all packed down, and when I turn this back on to cook it, it'll drop the cover. Okay, so this is the second part. So basically, remove the meat. We're gonna let it rest. We're gonna chill. We're gonna let it rest. We're gonna let it chill down, and then slice it. And by chilling it down, we can thin slice it and then layer it out like kind of like cold cuts. Okay, and this, like I said, this can be done the day before or several days before, chilled down, slice, and then just put on a platter. Okay, what's gonna happen is later on I'm gonna glaze this with a honey mustard glaze or your glaze of preference. And then by heating up the glaze to caramelize the glaze, it'll warm up the meat to serving temperature. Okay, the vegetables can be cooked the day you serve it, so you just reserve the liquid, and you cook the vegetables. It's only going to take about an hour, not even that. It's not even going to take that long. It's probably half an hour, because I cut all the vegetables small. So say half an hour to 45 minutes, and I'll check the tenderness. I can tell because I want the cabbage to be cooked thoroughly, so it's clear. Cabbage, one thing about cabbage is you got to cook it a little longer so that it turns more or less translucent. If it's still white and still got a lot of bite to it, it's very cabbage flavor, right? So I want to get rid of that and let the juice soak into the cabbage to give it that nice corned beef flavor. Okay. So we're going to put this back on the plug it in and let it keep going.